Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be all together, and so beautiful to be with our family joining us from all over the world. Beautiful welcome to all of you as well. And we begin as usual with one of the questions that comes in from our family joining us online from all across the world who send in questions. And we usually try to start with one of theirs so that they know that even though they're not here physically, they are with us in spirit. And then after that first question, we open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. How do you know when it's time to continue holding on, or when it is time to let go? I think it matters in most cases, not all, but in most cases, it's more a matter of what we are holding on to. It's not so much a matter of a timeline. With those sorts of situations, those are very rare, where there's the same thing and there's a right time to hold on to it and then a time you have to let go. Those tend to apply much more just to things like how you're raising your children. So when kids are little, there's a time that you have to hold on to exactly what they wear, what they eat, how they live. And then, of course, as the children grow, you realize it's time we have to let that go. They'll figure out what they want to wear. They'll figure out what they want to eat. They'll figure out how they're going to live. But in most cases, it's not so much a matter of a time to hold on and a time to let go, as it's a matter of what are we holding on to, or what are we letting go of? And the answer to that is actually really quite simple. Things that keep us stuck are things we should let go of. Things that are helping us get freer and freer are things we should hold on to. And so our dharma, our duty, our purpose, our truth, these are things we should hold on to, even when it's not easy. Even when it's a challenging situation, nonetheless, we hold on. This is my truth. This is who I am. This is my dharma. This is what I'm meant to do, who I am meant to be. And even when it's not necessarily what the neighbors want, or what makes the neighbors happy, it's not necessarily what brings in the most money, it's not necessarily that which is the most prestigious, still we know, this is my dharma. We live it. Or this is my truth. I live it. But things that keep us stuck, our egos, our attachments to this identity, my idea of this is who I am, not in the capital T truth of my capital S self, but in terms of This is how I like it. This is what I want. This is when I want it. This is how I want it. This is how you need to speak to me. The whole don't you know who I am-ness. That ego-ness. And also just a lot of ideas that we have about what we think the universe is supposed to be like, how things are supposed to happen. A lot of times we really hold on. We've got these attachments, these expectations. Here's how the world is supposed to treat me. Here's how people are supposed to treat me. Here's how people are supposed to act. The truth is, we don't have any control over other people's karmic drama. But the more we're attached to their karmic drama, to what they do, how they speak, how they live, well, the more stuck we get. My favorite story about this is the story of the Indian city that was being overrun by monkeys. You know, a lot of cities in India have monkey problems. But in general, we tend to be very committed to ahimsa, to nonviolence. And so the solution to the monkey problem was never going to be, let us put monkey poison out, or let us get guns and kill them. Never. But the city officials were very puzzled what to do. Monkeys are overrunning the city, jumping on people, stealing their bags in the marketplace, generally harassing people, as they tend to do. But of course, they didn't want to be violent toward the monkeys. So they developed a plan. And the plan was they took coconuts and they hollowed out the coconut. And they made the hole in the coconut just big enough for an empty hand to go in, but too small for a closed fist to come out. And then inside the hollow coconut, they put something that monkeys love. A piece of fruit, a banana, a sweet. Now, here was how the trick worked. The monkeys, with their open hands, would stick their hand into the coconut, grab their treat, but now they could not get their hand out of the coconut because the hole was too small, right? I don't know if India's got a big Winnie the Pooh reader population, but when I was a kid, Winnie the Pooh books were very famous. And there was a very, very famous Winnie the Pooh episode where he ate so much honey inside that the door to the little cave, the hut, the home that was at that time built, just out of mud or whatever they built them out of, the hole was big enough for him to have gotten in. But after he ate all the honey, the hole was too small for him to get out. And he ended up, of course, stuck half in and half out of the hole. When I first heard the story, I thought about, Winnie the Pooh stuck in the hole. But so you've got monkeys with their fists stuck. Now, in the stories of Winnie the Pooh, he's portrayed as very kind, very loving, very good, but also very kind of simple in his way of thinking. Not a rocket scientist, you could say. But monkeys, remember, genetically are our closest genetic relatives. From a DNA standpoint, we are the most closely linked of any other species on the planet to the monkeys. So you'd think, well, the monkeys, since we're so smart, the monkeys would be smart enough, smarter than Winnie the Pooh, they would be smart enough to open up their hand, let go of the treat, and pull their hand out. Because if you've got 4 legs and one of them is caught in a coconut, you can't run very well, you can't climb trees, you can't swing from branches, you can't do anything. But they actually never pulled their hands out. They never let go. And the truth is, they're still our closest genetic relatives. And it makes us realize we actually do this. Like the monkeys hold on to the one thing that keeps them stuck, right? So many bananas in the world. But the one that they're holding on to is the one that's keeping them stuck. So many sweets in the world. But they're so stuck with that one sweet that they end up essentially handicapped, trapped. And that's why it worked so well for the city, because when the monkeys have one of their 4 legs in a coconut, not able to climb, not able to run, it was very easy for the monkey catchers to then catch them up and take them back into the jungles. But you think about, this is what we do. We're so attached to our ideas. It's probably not a banana for us or one piece of sweet for us. But we're so attached to an idea, to an expectation, to a desire, to a grudge, to an idea of who we think we are, to what we want. और हम इसको पकड़ करके बैठ जाते हैं, मर भी जाते हैं, पकड़ करके. We get so stuck holding on to it that thing becomes our downfall. And so the time to let go is when whatever you're holding on to is keeping you stuck. Whatever it may be. And the truth is, you'll know. As you find yourself frustrated or depressed, worried, stressed, miserable, you know what it is. We'll all say, if just this, right? If we went around the room and I had all of you tell me the one thing that was keeping you from being really happy, the one thing that was keeping you from being free. If we went around the room, we'd have, 100 different answers. But we've all got something. That something is the thing you need to let go of. Because that something is what's keeping you stuck. As long as you think that you need that something to change in order for you to be happy, that something is keeping you stuck. Then you're like the monkey with its hand in the coconut. If I just could eat this banana, if I just could eat this burfi, then I would be happy. I need this banana, I need this burfi, इसलिए मैं छोड़ूंगा नहीं. नहीं तो छोड़ जाता है. यदि फड़ी नहीं है तो छोड़ देते हैं. If we don't care, we let go. But we hold on because we really, really, really want it. Really, 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 really need it. And just like the monkey thinks it really, really, really needs that one banana that's handicapping it. Ask yourself, what is it that you think you really, 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 really need to be happy? And then let that thing go. Because that's what's keeping you stuck. And then you find that you're actually able to find that happiness within you as you are right now. In this very moment. That it isn't something that you've got to grab onto and pull towards you. But it's actually in you. And our whole mental idea that it's something to be grabbed and held is what makes us stuck. So if it's bringing you toward freedom, toward truth, toward awakening, no matter how challenging it is, no matter how difficult it is, hold on. When we use words like sadhana or tapasya, they're not words that imply something that's super easy. They're not words that imply it's like flying a kite on a windy day. They're words that imply it's a practice, an austerity, a discipline. But it's taking us where we need to go. So you hold on to those things. You let go of whatever's making you stuck. Does anyone here have any questions? Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste.
So this is not a question from my side. It's more of a rhetorical question.
That's okay.
And I would like people to ponder upon it. It's like, would you still pray to God and quote unquote love God if you knew or someone told you that He's not going to answer your prayers?
Beautiful.
Would you still go to Vaishno Devi? Would you still go to Badrinath, Kedarnath if you knew that He is not going to answer your prayers? Would you still take dip in the holy waters of River Ganga if you knew that she is not going to wash away all your sins? Thank you.
Beautiful. So, there's a story that Pujya Swamiji told me when I very, very first was here. He was translating some of the beautiful prayers that we chant here at Parmarth. And as he was translating them, because we were doing a book on all of the prayers, giving them in English. So he was walking me through the translations and then giving, some commentary on it that I could put into the book. And as he was doing that, he told me this beautiful story of a king. And the king, it was back in the old days when kings used to have a lot of wives, lots of queens. And this king had gone off to neighboring lands to try to capture more kingdom. Right? It's what the kings used to do. They would go off on these long journeys. You can come up a little bit here if you'd like. Yeah. Aage aaja. Wonderful. Thanks. So the kings used to go off on these long journeys, capturing more kingdoms, capturing more lands. So this king went off and went to all the nearby areas, captured lands, did all of the things that kings do. And when he was about to come back, he sent a message to all of his queens, asking them, what did they want? What could he bring back with them, with him, for them? It's like your loved one goes away and they come back with gifts. Parents go away, they bring gifts back for the kids. So in this case, the king went away and he was going to bring back gifts for his queens. He told them all, let me know what you'd like. They all send back lists. One queen sends back a piece of paper on which is just written the number 1. Now the king was a very good man, but he was not a rocket scientist, not a super, super bright man, but he had a very, very smart minister. In those days, the kings would have wise people, usually spiritual people, holy people, ministering to them. So the king says to his minister, he says, "What is this? Number one? Doesn't she understand? I want a list of things. Everybody else has asked for saris and fabrics and silk and jewels and spices, and this one? Just one? One what? Didn't she understand?" So the minister says, she understood very well. He said, "This number one means you are number one. All she wants is you. You are her number one. That's what one means." So the king says, "Oh." And obviously he's very touched. And as he comes back to his kingdom, he sends all of the, different messengers to see his different queens, bringing their packages of kapre and jewels and whatnot. And he personally goes to this one queen. And as Pujya Swamiji said, he said, obviously wherever the king goes, everything goes with him. All of the carriages, all of the horses, nobody's going to leave the king. The whole army goes with the king. And so by wanting only the king, she ended up with everything. Even though the intention was just, I only want you. And he shared that story as a teaching about what we want from God. And as you say, most people go to temples, they do puja, they do things because they want something from God. Those of you who just came in, the question was, if you know that God's not going to answer your prayer, would you still do your puja? Would you still go to visit these temples? Would you still perform all of the rites? And the truth is that sadly, we go to God usually because we want something. Pujya Swamiji कहते हैं कि हम इष्ट के पास जाके लिस्ट लेके, है ना? But the point is not the list. The point is Isht, right? The point is God, not our list. It's not about, okay, God, you do what I want, and I promise I will, do Abhishek every Monday, right? Or I promise I'll do this, I promise I'll do that. It's, I just want you. That is what the prayer is supposed to be. Is just, oh God. Not, oh God, give me this, give me that, do this, do that. But just, oh God. Full stop. And when that's the prayer, then we're really with God. And yeah, it's a beautiful question, because if you're only going to temple because you've got a shopping list, or you're going for bargaining, right? It's not that God won't give you what you want. Sometimes God does. But the point is, then we end up just like one of those other queens with a package of kapre or some jewels, rather than actually with the king. And so if our prayers are just, oh God, do this, oh God, give me that, then yeah, sometimes God will do it. But wouldn't it be so much better to actually have the presence of God in your life? Because then we have everything. And so it is a beautiful question for pondering. As you meditate, ask yourself, can I stop bargaining with God? Can I stop this idea that somehow it's some kind of mutual benefit scheme? Right? You do this for me, I'll do that for you. And it's so funny usually what we think we're going to do for God. Right? What are we going to do? I'll pour milk on you. I will offer my rice to you or my ghee to you. Or I will buy you new clothes, maybe for the mandir, maybe made of gold. I'll buy you expensive clothes. Or sometimes we do things like we say, okay, God, I will give up coffee and tea. Right? You just do what I want. Chai chhod dungi. है ना? या चीनी छोड़ दूंगी. Like really? God cares if you drink chai? Oh, she's not drinking chai, chalo, I'll do what she wants. She gave up sugar, I'll do what she wants. Or, oh, this one gave me the golden clothes, I'll do what she wants. You don't think that if God wanted the gold clothes, God would have whatever God wanted? God is God. God's not here to take away your chai or your chini or your gold or to get milk poured on him. All that God wants is that we should go to God and want nothing other than God. And when we have God, then like this queen with her king, we have everything. Because when God is there, everything is there. It's like that beautiful story of Hanumanji after the war of Lanka. Right? When Sita Ma gives him that beautiful pearl necklace and tells him, this is very expensive, very precious. Make sure that you take good care of it. And Hanuman, what does he do? He takes this pearl necklace and he looks at each pearl from the top, from the bottom. Then he bites it in half, again looks at it, spits it out, throws it on the ground. One by one he goes through these pearls. Sita Ma dekh rahi hai, she can't believe it. She says, but I just told you this is a very precious necklace. What are you doing? And Hanumanji says, I'm looking for Bhagwan Ram in the pearls. If it's precious, then to Ram hoga. And when I don't see Ram in the pearl, then I realize that must not be the precious one. So I spit it out. I'm waiting for the precious one. Because where God is, then everything is there. And where God is not, no matter how expensive the pearl necklace may have been, it's ultimately worthless. So yeah, beautiful question. Does anyone else have a question? Yes. Tell yeah.
Swamiji spoke about the new.
Just one second.
Swamiji spoke about the new you. What is it? The new you.
Beautiful. So Pujya Swamiji was mentioning about the new year is coming. The new year will always be new, but how to be the new you. So what he means is the core of who you are already, right here, right now, regardless of anything you have done to this moment, regardless of anything you think, regardless of anything that has happened to you, regardless of anything, who you are is divine. That's because we are created of divinity, by divinity. That core within us is the divine. That's the true self. When we speak about Atma, the soul, when Bhagavan Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita about the true self being that which is never born, never dies, eternal, right? Eternal and divine. And yet, because we falsely identify with the body, with the story, with the role, with the history, we suffer. We suffer greed, we suffer lust, we suffer anger, we suffer jealousy, we suffer all sorts of complexes and insecurities and neuroses and all sorts of things. Because we identify with this body, with the story, with the drama. The new you, it's not a new inner you. The inner you is divine and perfect. It's not that there needs to be anything changed about who you are. But it's this ignorance with which we are covered, that we live in, that makes us act in certain ways, live in certain ways, think in certain ways, self-identify in certain ways. That tell us, oh, I'm the lazy one, I'm the irresponsible one, mere se kabhi kuch nahi hoga. Or that make us feel separate from others. You are the problem. That pit us against each other. That make us think that who we are is the money we make or the roles we play. That newness requires that we let go of that which is stuck. And so the new you is, I think about it like a really good bath, right? You know when you were a kid and your mom or dad would put you in the bath and they would take the sponge and scrub you, right? Now, no matter how much dirt you'd been playing in, by the time you got out of that big sudsy bubble bath, having been soaped down and sponged down by mom or dad, we were super clean. Under the fingernails was clean, between our finger, everywhere they got, right? I think about new you like that. That the child, even though covered with dirt, was still divine and pure and beautiful and perfect, but just needed a little washing, right? Before they went to bed. Otherwise, slowly, you go for too long without bathing, especially if you're getting really, really dirty. You can get all kinds of bacterial infections and whatnot, right? We start to smell, trouble ourselves, trouble people around us. The same thing happens to us on the identification self. Who we are is pure and perfect and divine, but we get covered with this dirt. How we identify, the attachments we have, the egos we have, the grudges we have. It's like what we were talking about earlier that we get stuck with. And so just think about the new year as like, let God give you a good scrubbing. You know, that who you are is already pure and perfect, but you've just gotten kind of covered with some tendencies, some maya, some sanskaras that are not in alignment with truth. So think about it as a voluntarily offering of the self to, God's bathtub. To allow ourselves to be really cleaned of the ignorance. Again, remember, who we are is pure and perfect and divine. But we've just gotten covered in a little bit of this false association, false identification. That's led us astray. So we offer ourselves up to God's bathtub, and then we allow ourselves to emerge new. Beautiful. And someone right here had a question. Yes. आपका बाद में आएगा. बाद में. पहले आपको. Yeah. We'll come right to you after.
Namaste, Didi. My question is, I do puja every day. I take 5-10 minutes out, whatever I can in my schedule. But I always have a conflict in my mind that, I'm so busy with my office work. Am I being, too materialistic? How do I keep my spiritual awakening always, that part of me always awakened? Because it always gets covered, it always gets, clouded by other things in life. And you keep getting reminded, you do something, you watch some videos, you listen to some gurus, and then it kind of awakens, but then again it kind of goes down. So how do we keep that awake?
Beautiful. So think about ways that you can keep reminding yourself. This is when we talk about the veil of Maya. This is the veil of Maya. It wraps itself around us and says, oh, better not do your puja, you're going to be late for work. Then the boss is going to like this other person better. She's going to get the promotion, you won't get the promotion. You'll never get a promotion. Right? You better not do your puja. Or the veil of Maya as you're walking to the office shows you something in a window much more expensive than you can afford. Says you better stay late at the office. Forget going to the temple, forget meditating, forget doing yoga, forget spending time with your loved ones. Keep working, because then you can afford. Then you can afford these shoes or this handbag or this dress. That's the veil of Maya. Always trying to pull us off center. And the way that we stay grounded when we know the truth is you literally set up a system so that you're going to constantly be reminded. So for example, set a rule that every time before you eat or drink anything, even a glass of water, that you'll say a mantra. That you'll do some japa. Doesn't have to be 20 minutes. A minute. A minute. A moment. A mantra. A prayer. Some deep breaths. It re-anchors you. Every time before you eat or drink. Every time you sit in a car before the ignition gets turned on. Again, just a moment. When you wake up in the morning, before you touch your feet to the ground, we pray. Right? Just a moment. At night, you lie down in bed before you go to sleep, a moment. And there you've got, if you add up all of those moments, 10 a day at least. You can even add in before you go to the bathroom, before you enter into the bathroom, a moment, or right after you come out, before you go back to whatever you were doing. Hat do ke bahar aa gaya, 1 minute. Even a public restroom, you walk out of it, you just stand for just a moment. In these very easy ways, you can get 10, 15 moments a day that you're re-anchoring. And when you already know something, then it's very easy. It's just a quick moment. So just add these things in. Because otherwise we all get caught up. Work, life, errands, busyness. And this is where we set up a situation. Set up something on your phone that once an hour, on the hour, you get a few bings. It reminds you, oh yeah, just a moment, on the hour. Okay? Very, very simple things. And it's just going to re-remind you, oh yeah, and reconnect you, re-anchor you. Okay, beautiful. Yes. Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste.
People travel, including me, 1,000 kilometers to pray to God, and for a moment, like to see the God and pray them.
Yes.
But like they donate there, but the beggars and the one who are selling some things to run their houses, to proper
Yes.
feeding them. But like people are donating them, but like they are not eager to donate beggars or the one who is like working hard to run their houses. So
Beautiful.
yeah, like what is more important to do? And the other thing is like should they travel 1,000 kilometers to the Vaishno Devi temple, or should they pray to the God from their houses? Like it is not that kind. They can go there, but what is more important to do? Like,
Beautiful.
thank you.
So, traveling to go to a mandir is no problem. Traveling to go on yatra is no problem. There's something even though God is everywhere, you can pray to God on the subway. Anywhere. God is everywhere. But there's something very sacred about a spiritual pilgrimage. We go back through the scriptures, right? Stories of even Shravan Kumar carrying his parents on pilgrimage. So there's something very sacred in all religions about going for pilgrimage, because it's not only the mandir itself. It's not just the actual mandir of Vaishno Devi, which yes, itself is also very holy. But it's when I'm going on yatra, my mind is changing. The whole mental framework that I have when I'm going for a yatra, especially if it's a yatra that takes a while, I'm walking, my whole mental framework is different. This is why we chant. People do japa as they walk. People fast as they walk. The whole framework is different. So going on pilgrimage, nothing wrong with it. However, the question you raised about the money that we give, the question that you raised about the money that we give in temples compared to the money that we could give to the beggars, you're absolutely right. We've been told so beautifully in our scriptures, God lives in all. One of my very, very favorite mantras that I share so frequently is from the Upanishads that says, Isha vasyamidam sarvam, yat kancha jagatyam jagat. Everything in the universe is pervaded by the divine. Everything, everyone. And so that beggar is God. There's actually a beautiful story of a man walking home one night on a very cold winter night. And he's a devotee. He's walking home from the mandir. He's gone from the office to the mandir. Now he's walking home. It's very cold, late at night. And there's a beggar on the side of the road. The beggar is cold and says to the man, can I have something? Now the man has only one shawl. He's wearing just one shawl. He sees the beggar. As I said, he's a good man. He's a compassionate man. He's a dharmic man. But he's also feeling cold. He also has to walk home. So he tears his shawl in half, gives half the shawl to the beggar, and goes home with half his shawl. And that night he has a dream. And in his dream, Lord Krishna appears to him. And in the dream, Lord Krishna is wearing half a shawl. And the man says to Bhagavan Krishna, why are you only wearing half a shawl? And Bhagavan Krishna says, Ki bas, that's all you gave me. So, yes, serving the poor, serving the needy is the very best puja we can do. I get asked so frequently things like, all of the milk and the ghee and the rice, like, really? Couldn't we feed that to homeless people? And what I always say is, look, as a symbol, as a symbolic offering, if you want to offer little bit of the milk, little bit of rice, little bit of ghee, because of the bhav of the puja, no problem. But instead of taking 10 liters of milk and doing only abhishek in the mandir, use a little bit of milk in the mandir and offer, 9.5 liters of milk to the poor people who don't have anything. Offer a few grains of rice in the yagna and offer the rest to those who actually don't have anything to eat. So you're absolutely right. The puja, the offering that is, I think, the most beautiful and precious to God is that which helps others. God never says, give me gold. There's no mantra or scripture in which God says, give me all your money. In fact, what we're told by God is, patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya payachati tadaham bhaktyupratam ashnami payatatmanaha. The leaf, the flower, the fruit, or water, whatever the devotee offers me with love and devotion, I accept it with love. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. You'll notice that all 4 of the things that Bhagavan Krishna mentions are free. A leaf, a flower, a fruit, some water. He's not saying your gold, your cars. So, let us offer God our hearts, our love, our devotion, even if it's just with some water. And obviously, if we've got extra resources, why not? It's good to keep our mandirs in good shape, keep the roofs from leaking, make sure that God has, new clothes, clean clothes. But even more importantly is making sure that the embodiment of God living on the street has clothes. So, yes, I absolutely agree with you. Beautiful. We will take one more question this evening, and then we will take all of the rest from tomorrow. Aapka kafi der tak. In the back, the gentleman in the back. Yeah. And then rest we'll start with tomorrow.
Namaskar Pujya Didi ji. Good evening, Shubh Sandhya. This is my personal abhipray observation that here the people gathered for listening your spirituality satsang to go near the God Almighty. You do speak some Hindi words, so I understand that you know also to speak Hindi very well. However, this is not a question, this is my observation.
Okay.
However, audience is mostly Indian and I understand English very well myself. Well, but due to your little different language pronunciation, it is little difficult to understand your speech fully. My earnest request you to, if possible and convenient for you, please speak in Hindi. Aabhar, thanks, धन्यवाद.
ब्यूटिफुल. तो आपके लिए मैं थोड़ा सा हिंदी में बोलूँगी. बात यह है कि जो सत्संग सुन रहे हैं केवल जो यहाँ बैठे हुए लोग नहीं बल्कि रोज पूरा विश्व से इतने लोग हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं ऑनलाइन. और जो मैं बता रही हूँ जो नहीं कोई बात नहीं, जो वो जो कैमरा लगी हुई है वो पूरा विश्व लोग जोड़ रहे हैं, चाहे यूट्यूब से, चाहे फेसबुक से, चाहे अलग अलग चैनल से. और जो मैं कह रही हूँ सच बात यह है, मैं आपको कोई नया चीज बता तो नहीं रही हूँ. ये तो आप ही की संस्कृति, आप ही की संस्कार है. मुझको यहाँ आना पड़ा सीखने के लिए, आप लोगों की खून में है. लेकिन जो विदेश से आए हुए हैं, चाहे यहाँ बैठते हैं चाहे विदेश में बैठते हैं, हमारे कोई डायरेक्शन नहीं है. गांधी जी ने इतनी सुंदर बात कही है कि what is the point of going so fast when we're running in the wrong direction. और जो दुर्भाग्य से जो मैंने देखा, जो विदेश का जो कल्चर है, मेरे लिए क्या, मेरे लिए क्या. पूज्य स्वामी जी हमेशा कहते हैं कि हम नहीं पूछते हैं मेरे लिए क्या, हम पूछते हैं मेरे थ्रू क्या. What can happen through me, not what can I get. जो आपकी जो भारतीय संस्कृति है वो उसमें सारे ट्रूथ, सारे इंसाइट्स जो भी जरूरी है जीवन के लिए. लेकिन हम जिन्होंने विदेश में जन्म लिया, जिनकी खून में नहीं है, और इतने सारे आपका पूरा हिस्ट्री के साधु संत, वो तो सब ऋषि मुनि, वो तो सब मातृभाषा में है, चाहे हिंदी भाषा, चाहे संस्कृत भाषा, चाहे बंगाली भाषा, चाहे तमिल में, चाहे मराठी, जो भी है वो सारी उनकी मातृभाषा में है. तो अंग्रेजी में बहुत कम चीज होती है. तो इसलिए मुझे लगा कि हिंदी बोलने वाले लोग वो तो पहले से मालूम है, मैं केवल याद दिला रही हूं आपको. जो हिंदी नहीं समझ सकते हैं वो यहाँ आकर काफी नया चीज सीखते हैं. तो उनके लिए इसलिए मैं अंग्रेजी में बोलती हूँ. लेकिन कभी कभी लोग हैं जिनको अंग्रेजी बढ़िया बोलने नहीं आते हैं, तो वो प्रश्न हिंदी में पूछते हैं, कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं है. धन्यवाद. और मेरी जो अंग्रेजी की एक्सेंट, वो दिक्कत क्या है कि मैं अमेरिका से हूँ. इंडिया में आप लोग जो जैसे ब्रिटिश इंग्लिश है ना, तो यही फर्क है. तो इसलिए मैं थोड़ा सा धीरे बोलने की कोशिश करती हूँ, और जितना जैसे सिंपल शब्द है तो मैं सिंपल शब्द से बोलने की कोशिश करती हूँ ताकि कम से कम जिनकी अंग्रेजी वो इतना फ्लुएंट भी नहीं है तो वो भी समझ पाते हैं. समझ गए? हाँ, चलो आप रोज सत्संग में आया करो और फिर हम आपको दोबारा भेज देंगे. या हाँ बिल्कुल ब्यूटीफुल बहुत बढ़िया. हाँ हार्ट का भाषा तो यूनिवर्सल है. ब्यूटीफुल. एक परिवार है. Beautiful. And with that, as he reminded us that our scriptures teach us Vasudev Kutumbakam, the whole world is a family. So with that, a very beautiful evening to our family, those who are here and those who are joining us through the gift of technology, and looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow as well. From tomorrow, actually, tomorrow's 27th, yeah, from tomorrow, we will be gathering for satsang in the satsang hall. I think as we'll be needing some more space as we're trying to bring back some more social distancing, I think it'll be more comfortable and safer. We'll be gathering in the larger satsang bhavan from tomorrow for satsang. And if you don't know where it is, don't worry. In our reception, people will guide you how to get there. Beautiful. Same time. Aarti ki turant baad. Between 5:45 and 6, we start. It depends how quickly Aarti finishes. But right after Aarti, then we start. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I have said many, many times, and so many people who have studied Indian culture, the Vedas, the tradition, have said that these truths are so universal that we need to share them all over the world. Absolutely. This is what we are trying to do. Yes, thank you. From tomorrow, starting tomorrow, actually just in the evening tomorrow and going through January 1st, we are having a special New Year's spiritual retreat. And it's open to everyone. And we begin with Aarti and Satsang tomorrow. And then in the evening, tomorrow evening, there'll be some special kirtan after dinner. And then from 28th morning through the afternoon of the 1st, it's full days of programs of yoga, meditation, yoga philosophy, Ayurveda. We'll be doing some beautiful mountain hikes. We'll be going on some field trips and having just a lot of very beautiful different types of programming. So it's pretty full day programs. It's on a donation basis. There isn't any set fee or charge for it. It's just a donation basis. And we invite you all to join us. And even if you can't join us for the full retreat, but if you're going to be here for some of the days, we invite you to join us for as much of it as you can. And right after satsang, if you go into in the office, in the main office, if you go into the main office, you can tell them that you want to join the retreat, and they will be able to help you do that. Wonderful.